Hello everyone, and we are here for another expert session. And today I have a dear member of ours who's based in Jönköping. Is that correct? My
Jönköping, yeah.
pronunciation,
Yeah.
Jönköping, in Sweden.
Yes.
Mikaela, I failed to ask your last name. I actually had this in my mind, so I will try, and then you correct me, please.
Mm?
Michaela Reiter.
Eigelreiter.
Come again?
Eigelreiter. If you would,
Egels.
that's the Swedish version of it. But if you want
Yeah.
to say it in the real German way, it's like Eigelreiter. But I can't even pronounce it in the
Egelsreiter.
German way,
All right.
so it sounds more aggressive.
All right,
Yeah.
let's try. I have today Michaela Eigelsreiter, a seasoned marketing and performance professional with over a decade of experience in the industry. In 2024, she founded ISM Agency AB, a Swedish firm specializing in Microsoft advertising with a strategic focus on the Middle East and North Africa region. Under her leadership, ISM agency has been instrumental in leveraging Microsoft's advertising platforms to drive growth and innovation for clients within this rapidly expanding market. I want to acknowledge our sponsors, Air Meet, for their generous sponsorship and making this insightful conversation possible. Vika, I
Mm.
always start with a controversial question. So today, the question I like to ask is, some critics they argue that Microsoft advertising platforms lack the reach and effectiveness of competitors like Google. So, how
Mhm.
do you respond to these claims, especially concerning the MENA region?
I mean, I can start with the global and take it into the MENA region, but they correlate very well. So I would say if you look at the growth of Microsoft advertising, it actually took speed in 2011 when Microsoft launched the new Windows operative system. So that's when Bing started to capture market share. But now we see, due to the shift in search behaviors and with the AI chats related to ChatGPT as well as Copilot, we see that the trend have shifted and the global search volume have increased with 5%. However, if we look at Microsoft or Bing search share, it have increased with 2.8% the last months, basically. So we do see a massive increase in growth. And if you think that 2.8% of the global search volume, that's massive. And I look into the numbers in the Middle East kind of every day, and I have reports from 2024 now showing that in Saudi we have 17% of the search market share, and in UAE we have 15% of the search market share. And Comscore actually only reports on PC market share, so that's PC market share, but it's still big and massive.
Super. You mentioned Comscore. Have you spoken to Rodrigo,
No.
our member as well? No, I'll
Oh,
connect you guys.
really?
Just
From Comscore?
former Comscore.
Ooh, yeah.
We're the house of formers, so
Mm.
he's got some great
Yeah,
insights there.
yeah, yeah.
Super interesting, really nice. So let's speak about that. But before we speak about those valuable insights you have, tell us why, how your journey to getting where you are today, and what led you, to establish ISM agency, and your motivation for focusing on Microsoft advertising and then the MENA region.
Yeah. So I've been working with Microsoft advertising for about 8 years. I've been in the partner business for this time. Before I started with Microsoft, I was in the same company, and I was doing Yahoo, I was doing dating sites, I was doing like homepage takeovers on Yahoo and everything. So I've been doing everything when it comes to digital advertising. But when we started to evolve and grow the Microsoft advertising business, that was at my previous company. So I figured out that okay, I mean, the knowledge about Microsoft advertising or Bing search ads was very low in the Nordics. So we had to start educate the market. And with that, we also saw a lot of growth when we started to educate the market. So that is basically where we are in the Middle East now. But how it took me from what I did with Microsoft before to the Middle East is because I have the proof of concept in the Nordic region. I built, yeah, a couple of 100 million SEK business on Microsoft advertising in the Nordics. Converting that to dollars, that's about 20 million dollars business, something. And I saw that, okay, there is a possibility to, when I left that company, I saw that there is a possibility to maybe do this in another market and in my own company, because I actually founded the proof of concept of how to be successful in this partner business. And when Microsoft told me that there is a gap in the market in the Middle East, I wasn't late to jump on the challenge, because it's a massive market. It's a lot of money in the market. However, what I didn't know is the difference between Nordics and the Middle East regarding being here in the Nordics. It's more businesses that doing exports of the services. In the Middle East, they don't do export of service or products in the same extensions as we do in the Nordics. We're pretty good at this in the Nordics, to be honest.
Can you tell me a bit more about that? Because in terms of population,
Mm,
I mean, the Nordics are like Sweden is probably 10 million people, right? Denmark
mm,
is 5.6, maybe 6 nowadays. So I think that makes sense. When it comes to the UAE or Saudi, which you've been there recently, and forgive me for my ignorance, but I don't know how many people live there. And in terms of population,
millions,
I'm curious. 1
millions.
million?
No, 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 millions.
Millions.
It
Yes. Okay.
I would say it's about the whole GCC region is probably 10 times bigger than the Nordics in terms
Right.
of
Right.
population.
Hmm. Perfect. And so, what would you say? In terms of, we were having this conversation in the like our side room. So, the one characteristic that you have in the Nordics, well, export of services to other regions, it's very common there. They're doing services within the region. What other characteristics would you say are differ? You know, if you could, we'll speak about the ecosystem and other things, but I think the cultural perspectives from your perspective is also very interesting.
Mhm. You mean in terms of type of businesses that is active in the region, or I mean,
Yes,
it's
yes.
kind of it's kind of similar to here. I mean, there is SaaS products, there is e-commerces, there is everything. It's just that it's a bit more luxury in this
Hmm.
region,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
people tend to want to buy the things that are a bit more expensive. And yeah, I would say it's similar. It's not that different in that way. It's just the behavior of consuming digital and so on. I mean, here we are not as reliant on apps anymore as we were 8 years ago. But in the Middle East region, they are super reliant on apps. So everything they do is within apps because they are on the phone. They are often on the phone. So that's a pretty big difference as well in terms of behavior, how we are.
Interesting. Can we go there a bit more? Because in the Nordics, people are not so reliant on apps. What are they relying on? And when it comes to this market, they're relying on apps, which leads me to then my next question about ecosystem. That is, there's there's a different way, or there's an ecosystem in place which you need to understand, and this ecosystem behaves in a certain manner. So In terms of maturity, the Nordics behaves in a certain way, and in which way, if we're not relying on apps, where do we rely? And then you tell me a little bit about this region as well.
Mm, I mean, I wouldn't say that we don't rely on apps because we do. It's just that we are so much further in the digital transformation compared to
Mhm.
the Middle East. So they are a lot behind when it comes to go through the whole digital transformation journey. I mean, I can log in with bank ID on everything I do. I don't
Mhm.
have to create my own account because if I add my personal identification number, I can log into anything. There,
Got it.
it's not really the same because you might have to create your account and so on. But the thing is that everything that they do are happening within the apps. Here we can do
Mhm.
both on mobile phone and on the website and so on. So we can be a bit more flexible, I would say. We are not so yeah, forced to apps, even though we
Mhm.
are doing a lot on apps. But businesses can be run can run without apps in the Nordics as well. So
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because you're speaking about it, and I hadn't realized. I mean, it's a no-brainer when you talk about the unique ID here, like the NEM ID in Denmark. It's true. Like in Denmark, you have this centralized location where they kind of control your life in a way, right?
yeah.
It's the bank and your security system, everything. It's there. In Brazil, it's pretty much like I would say the Middle East in that sense that we're probably going to have an app for everything. So tell me a little bit about the ecosystem, the unique opportunities that the Microsoft Ads ecosystem offer that differentiate it from other ads platform based on
Mm.
all your experience.
Yeah, I mean the Microsoft ecosystem is huge. It's we have. I usually look at the wheel when I look at the Microsoft ecosystem, but and then starting with the browsing area, and the browsing area is actually Bing, Ecosia, DuckDuckGo, etc., and Yahoo, which is their own and operated search partners. But then there is a lot of other search partners that is included in the browser area. That's where we run the regular Microsoft search ads. So we call it Microsoft search ads and not Bing search ads because it's not just Bing, it's Microsoft. But in the search, we also include Snapchat. And why we include Snapchat is because micro the AI chat within Snapchat is powered by Copilot, and Copilot is powered by Bing, and we serve ads within Copilot. So within the search environment from Microsoft Advertising, we can serve ads in Snapchat AI chat function.
Mhm.
And then if we look further, we can also extend campaigns similar to Google into display, but we also have something which is called audience network. And network is what it sounds like. It's audience driven ads running on native advertising placements. So you connect an audience setting up like a regular display campaign. So that differs from how you set up search campaigns. Search campaigns are a bit different, but it's kind of the same. So you set it up with an image, text, description, link, and then you can also upload a video to it, and then you connect your audience to it. So it's purely audience driven. And the beauty with the Microsoft network is that we can apply a lot of data from the whole Microsoft ecosystem. So, and when I say data from Microsoft ecosystem, I mean Bing, LinkedIn, um, Edge, MSN, Microsoft 365, everything within Microsoft. So all those data points can be applied to specific campaigns. So
Mhm.
we can really like use specific data for any type of campaign. I mean, we in certain markets we can actually run search campaigns using LinkedIn profile targeting using industry, company, and job function, for example. That is not something that Google has. It's extremely unique for Microsoft. And also that we serve ads in Copilot that is also not run on Google. So it's exclusive for Microsoft as well. And the AI Snapchat function is also exclusive for Microsoft. And what else? We have vertical ads, which is unique for Microsoft. So for different professional services, we can set up vertical ads for health insurance, for professional service, for automotive, looking like a regular shopping campaign, kind of. So the used cars can be promoted, or new cars can be promoted like shopping ads. There is so much that is unique with Microsoft. And for hotels, for example, or for an aggregator that is promoting both hotels and vacation rentals, Google allows hotel ads, but they don't allow vacation rentals, for example. And knowing with the aggregators, or with the ones that is running both hotels and vacation rentals, they might have a couple of 100,000 hotels, but they have millions of vacation rentals. So that
I
is a
mean,
opportunity for
yeah,
them.
yeah, no, it's super interesting, and I think in our community, like the retail media, I'll call it vertical or
Mm,
subset, is growing. Like we have Alessandro, who's a guy who works for as a consultant at Financial Times. We have Rodrigo Ceron. I told you about ComScore. We have a guy in Brazil, but there's also people like me. I'm more like a generalist.
mm,
I speak a lot about everything and anything in the world of commerce. That when you started talking, explaining the Microsoft ecosystem the other day, we had someone from the Amazon ecosystem. I think it's so fascinating, like the amount of companies that Microsoft has acquired, and all of a sudden you don't realize that they're buying data, right? I mean, a couple of years ago, they paid like a fortune for LinkedIn, and you didn't really, I mean, understood why. I mean, of course, it's the biggest business database that you have there,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then you start combining that. But I really think it's interesting if we could explain a bit more, and we can do just a master class afterwards about this. We schedule a date, but the ecosystem, because I think many uh, people they are not aware of the Microsoft power. They became really famous for what the operating system that we use in our computer. But then you started mentioning Bing. We have LinkedIn. You have Snapchat. You have they also have servers, right?
mm,
It's so tell us a little bit about this bigger picture, and
mm,
then uh, I think it would be interesting to understand if you could just give some insights when or in which part of the journey of a certain company, Microsoft or a certain product is more adequate to a specific type of the journey. When do you use Snapchat, and how do you connect that to a certain part of a company's journey, if that makes any sense?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that you use a specific product for a specific part of your journey, or you do in some way, but I mean, you cannot run a campaign to be exposed on Snapchat AI chat only, for example, because you
Mhm.
have to run the whole ecosystem. However, what you can control is publishers where you don't want your ads to appear, for example, so
Got
you
it.
can exclude them. But there is actually, since last week, we there was a new feature launched, which is placements. So previously, we have seen segments of Microsoft owned and operated, and some other placements, or publishers groups. Now there is more like, okay, you can select to run on Edge only, you can select to run on Outlook only, and etc. So now there is grouped in another way. So I think this will also have an impact how we will see the ads serve in the future. But if we also look at the, can you say the question again, because there was so many.
Yeah, sorry. The question is more like, let's not think about a specific product, but you have an ecosystem there, right? You have
Yeah.
Snapchat, and then you have LinkedIn,
Mm,
and then you have your clients. They're interested in saying, okay, Google is getting too expensive. Maybe you have your
mm.
arguments for
Yeah, for sure.
advertising on
Mm,
Microsoft.
mm.
Which product? Where should I start? Should we create a strategy for LinkedIn and then use
Yeah,
Bing? And then
yeah.
I'm more interested in maybe it's a more tactical question. Like
Mm,
when you're talking to a client, where
yeah,
where are they in their journey, and how do you help
yeah,
them? How do you
exactly.
tailor your strategy to
Yeah, usually I start with explaining, like, okay, where are the users? Where are they coming from? Why are they, how can we reach them, and why are they using Bing, and why are they such a big part of Microsoft? I mean, in all PC users, as you mentioned, Windows is by default in all PCs. And as Windows is by default in all PCs, that means that Edge is by default in all PCs too. And that also generates a lot of search volume through Bing, for example. So we see a lot of corporate users are Microsoft and Bing users. So when they are in their professional environment, they use Bing, but they are not only professionals, because at some point they are also private people like us. They have a purchase behavior outside their professional work. And if we can follow the user along their journey, then we can also capture them as individual people. So we do tend to see that usually people think that Microsoft is only for B2B, but it's not, because it's also for someone that is running an e-commerce business, or someone that wants to reach the consumer audience too. Because what we usually see is that the buying intent on Microsoft and Bing users are a lot higher, and the ROI on campaigns that we are running are a lot higher. So when we look at the funnel, we always advise on running search ads, because that's the heart of Microsoft advertising. And if there are search users on the platform, that's where the brands should be. So never ignore the search intent, because there is no stronger intent than someone searching for a specific product. And then there is different extensions that we can do to increase the volume, which is then the MSAN, which is the native advertising format. There is display, which is also can be powered by a lot of audience data. But we also have CTV and video ads. And with CTVs, we can also run Netflix, Disney, Max, HBO, etc. So we can really capture the whole journey. So everything from awareness, consideration, down to the lowest funnel. So we work with. I don't do a specific strategy for a general client. I customize it for every single client depending on how their buyer journey and their user journey looks like. And also when it comes to budgets, because if you don't have a big budget, you probably can't work a lot with awareness. Then you might have to start with consideration and then lower funnel, or maybe just low funnel, for example. So I would say we use audiences depending on where in the customer journey they are, and we also use campaign types depending on where in the customer journey they are. And then uh, but I also always recommend to run search and MSAN, which is the native advertising formats, because they generate a lot of volume with a low CPC. Yeah, that's the biggest I would say. But I will also,
very interesting. And
yeah.
tell me, no, no, it's super cool. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
wanted to
I'll
add
ask
one
you in a
thing as
bit.
well that I think is important. So uh, usually we see that the Microsoft advertising platform has a lot less competition. I mean, certain segments, the competition is high, yes, but
Mhm.
in most of the segments, the competition is non-existing or very low, which means that if you don't have a high competition or the competition is low, that means that you will also pay a lot less for each individual click, and that also means that your CPA or your cost per order acquisition or lead will be a lot less too. So I would always say protect your brand. If you don't SEO optimize for Bing, protect your brand on the platform by running PPC campaigns, because otherwise someone else would take your market shares on Bing and Microsoft advertising, and run competitor ads if you see that or competitor keywords if you see that your competitors are not on the platform. Capture their market share because it's an open target. They search for it, but no one is protecting it. So it's
And
easy
that,
money.
yeah, and that used to happen a lot on Google. I remember, like, at my family business, they were using certain keywords like competitors, but much
Mm.
bigger, and redirecting the traffic to their website. And then you would have to I forgot the word in English, but to send a letter from a lawyer. They stop doing that, and then they stop it. But
I
what
mean,
I
you can
find it
always claim
fascinating.
intellectual property, but yeah,
Property,
yeah,
yes, yeah. Depending on their size, they don't care.
yeah.
But what I find it interesting, Michaela, and it's really fascinating because um, myself, not an ads specialist, I I I I I I have a challenge to go to Bing and start using the Bing search and tool
Mm.
in general, right? And I'm not sure if that is a pushback you get from your customers, or
Yeah.
because it's for me it's hard. It's about changing behavior. It's one of the hardest things is to get people to change uh,
That's
their
what
behavior.
everyone, every Google searcher says. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, they use Bing
Uh-huh.
without knowing it. That's actually true. So a lot of Google users are using Bing without knowing it.
hmm hmm
So
Well,
you're probably using it, but you don't know that you are.
but how does that happen? Can you explain?
I mean, let's say you're a PC user and you have Edge in your browser, then you are using it when you are typing in the top bar regular as
Mhm.
you do in Chrome, for example.
Right.
That's Bing results. Have you done it?
Mhm.
Because you smile.
Yeah, I have.
You have. So I gotcha.
Mhm,
No, but and then you also have next to the Microsoft logo in the
mhm,
PC, there is a search bar
mhm,
too. It's also Bing.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. I can see that.
And if you're using Copilot, that's Bing. If you're using ChatGPT, it's also Bing. It's not completely run on Bing anymore, but it was before. So if you use Copilot a lot before, then you use Bing.
Interesting. It's really interesting. These big companies, huh?
Yep.
Right. So let's talk about the
Mm.
region. So ad spending. The first question I have here. So let's see. Da-da-da, quarter. Okay. Ad spending in the MENA region is forecasted to reach 20 billion. That's for 2025, according to Statista, with search advertising accounting for 5.51. So, how is your agency positioning itself to leverage this growth in the region? Yeah, within the digital advertising landscape.
I mean, we're facing a pretty big challenge at the moment that no one is advertising on Microsoft advertising or Bing in the region. You can search for anything and you barely find an advertiser. So the first thing we do is to educate
Mm-hmm.
educate the market what is Bing, what is Microsoft advertising, what do you miss out on if you don't include Microsoft advertising in your strategy, and creating close relationship with the agencies, educate the agencies, go to their clients, speak with their clients, educate their clients, and their clients want to be on the platform, but the agency barely never prioritize Bing because usually they tend to see that, yeah, I spend 10% of my budget on Bing, but I don't monetize it. I just copy paste it into to Google, and it from Google to Microsoft, and then I think it will have the same behavior as Google have, but it won't, because you have to adopt Microsoft advertising campaigns for Microsoft, because they won't deliver and perform the same as in Google. You have to have a strategy and a bit of tactics on Microsoft campaigns to make sure that you capture the market shares. And I mean, we see this challenge every day. That's why we are there to support the agencies and the clients, to onboard them, but also to make sure that they easily can adapt the setup for Microsoft so it performs well on Microsoft too. We know exactly what to do when adapting an account for Microsoft. Even though you might not be in the account every day or every week, by just doing some small changes, we will make sure that they will get the most out of the Microsoft platform as they can. And then we are there to say, hey, just so you know, let's do this in the account and let's do this. So we give recommendations of how they should optimize their accounts, rather than they coming to us asking us, what should I do? So we are being proactive, giving them ideas and basically advising them on how to do it in the best way. Sometimes we do it on their behalf.
Hmm.
Usually we don't, but sometimes we do. If we know that, okay, they have short of resources, let's support them with a couple of actions. But yeah.
Interesting. So in this part of education, like I presume that Microsoft is also supporting you guys and
Mhm.
other
Yeah,
agencies
yeah.
as well, right? With can you comment some of the actions that they're doing in the region to educate the region as well, and to to create this bigger momentum and push?
I mean, they support us in. I mean, just by supporting us, they are supporting the region. But we are also looking into some other strategic
Hmm.
actions to do in the future now, similar to being present at GITEX
Hmm.
together or being present at LEAP together, for example. But then
Hmm.
also running webinars, eh, like
Hmm.
online webinars. If we can't be
Right.
there all the time, we can at least do online webinars together, and then we can use Microsoft experts to leverage some of the categories that we want to cover, if it's MSAN, or if it's the search, or if it's a specific product or LinkedIn targeting, or if it's a product update or whatever. And then also hosting events on the ground is also
Mhm.
one thing that is on the agenda for us to do. So being present, gather people, make sure that we have on-site events, creating relationships together with
Mhm.
Microsoft and the clients.
Mhm.
Microsoft usually fly in people to these type of events, and yeah, so we do as much as we can, and of course, a lot more can be done, and
Mhm.
to increase Microsoft advertising visually in the region. Of course, that's there is a lot to be done.
Mhm. Very, very interesting, Michaela. So, um, yeah, any advice that you would give to brands and agencies looking to explore advertising opportunities within the Microsoft ecosystem, particularly in emerging markets like the one you're um, exploring? Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about data from those markets if you have any, but yeah, any advice, any.
I mean, always start with search. I mean,
Uh,
the search volume is there.
mhm,
So don't ignore the search volume because there is sales on the table. Pro- I mean, protect the
mhm,
brand at least. Protect your brand, even if you can't like run a massive campaign. Protect your brand. And if you see that, okay, in my market, there is no competitors, do the competitors targeting at least. And if you don't have a lot of possibilities to run a lot of different campaigns, maybe run PMax. I don't say PMax is the best campaign type to run, but run PMax because it will do the job for you in an easy way, because it will protect the brand, it will get you some general general keywords and general sales. It will also give you or it gives you some advantage to show up in Copilot environment, for example. That is the campaign that has the most assets. So it gives you the broader opportunity with Microsoft advertising, and keeping it in one campaign generates a lot of data, and a campaign needs data in order to optimize and use historical data and generate results in the long run. So PMax is simple
mhm,
way, but
mhm,
I would say if you can run it in a controlled way, do it.
mhm. Interesting. From let's say, maybe you you have clients in Sweden or the Nordics in that sense as well, despite the focus in the region there. Um, would it be a good strategy for them to say, okay, they have a Google strategy, it's running Google, they're advertising on Google, and they're interested potentially in uh, selling into the MENA
Mm,
region, right? And exploring, like to export. It could be a D2C product, could be a D2C brand, to explore and test the market and see how, if you're interested in a new region, to start and see how much it costs, to advertise on the platform. Would that be a viable way of starting as well?
I mean, you can always test it and see how it
Hmm.
performs, but you also have to secure the customer experience. Make sure
Hmm.
that if your website are supported in English or Arabic,
Hmm.
maybe
It's a great point. Yes.
English to start with, because if it's not in an English version, the experience might not be so good. So the customer experience and also the delivery. Can you deliver it to the region?
Hmm.
Can you? I mean, you have to look at the whole chain. So make sure that you have the full chain with you before just expanding, and also not just expand to any market. I think you have to search is one thing, but you also have to adapt your communication to the
Hmm.
person that you want to sell to in the region. It's easy to expand, but
Hmm.
it's if you want the personal relationship, the client, then yeah.
Yeah. Very important point. I think the localization point is probably crucial if you want to um, to have depth, right,
Mm.
in the region that you're doing
I mean,
business, whether it's B2B.
yeah. US are more like it's beautiful. I love it. Blah. It's more yeah,
Mhm,
fluffy. And in Germany, it's more like I want the
mhm,
specifics. Why is
mhm.
this product so good?
Yes.
So yeah,
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, adapt the language to where you are.
100%. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think adapt the language as in the nuances, but also the language, the language as in, if you're in Sweden, speak Swedish. If you're in
Yeah.
Germany, speak German, right? And localize the content. I think in that sense, it's actually a very relevant point. Listen, Michaela, we are on to this. This has gone fast, 40 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love to open up for some questions here. We have Michaela, we have Eduardo Monera. Uh, you're very welcome as always to jump in and ask your questions, whether it's from a cultural standpoint, on Michaela's experience in the region, Eduardo, not sure if you can join us today. Would be great. Lais is here as well. Gustavo, perhaps you have questions. Perhaps you would like to cover things that I didn't cover today. So please, this is your stage. Let's see if someone, yeah.
Hello.
Where is Gustavo? Hey, Gustavo, go ahead.
Yes. Now, yeah. So, great, great conversation. And yeah, so I have two questions in here, but here's better. Is there a vertical that performs best within Microsoft Ads? I would just like to add something that you said while I was writing that question. Is that something, some vertical or any type of vertical or some results that, because you said about Microsoft being able to use ads within Prime Video and Netflix and etc. And these are basically new platforms that
Yep.
10 years ago, basically, or five probably.
Mm.
And what are some good cases that uses this type of platforms, or good cases, or good, or is there any type of specific companies or products that are good to be advertised there?
Mm.
And in terms of verticals, there are vertical that performs best in within Microsoft Ads in general, or
Yeah, I mean, I worked with kind of every type of advertiser you can imagine on Microsoft advertising. So, I mean, if I would say from my experience, I think insurance is really good on Microsoft advertising, and especially because you can run across all the different products within the ecosystem. You can run search, native, display, and CTV video. So, and we do see that performance actually is really good within this segment. E-commerce, I mean, we do see, I've been working with a lot of e-commerces, and cost of sales, ROAS, I mean, some are exploding on Microsoft. We can see some campaigns can be like 6 7,000 ROAS or T ROAS, and or in ROAS per campaign. But I mean, we do see in general really high ROAS on e-commerce campaigns or shopping campaigns.
nice.
And then
Okay.
I would say gambling, but yeah, gambling is always performing. So
Yes, in
yeah,
every market. It's yeah,
yeah,
I believe it's another discussion with two. Oh, uh, sorry, I lost here, but yeah, okay, I'm back. Yeah, and I have another question. So, what differences in market approach have you encountered with companies in the MENA region compared to your previous experience? I mean, in terms of market approach for the companies. So the companies in that region, their approach for the market or for advertising or types of campaigns and etc. is different, or what does differentiate them compared to your previous experience?
yeah. So what I tend to see in the Middle East region is that they are super curious to learn more. They are keen on learning, which is fantastic. But if we look at campaigns, I would say that they are a bit behind when it comes to CTV, and they are also behind when it comes to programmatic media buying. So we are in the Nordics and in Europe are a lot more ahead when it comes to this type of media buying. But I think it's on the way up. However, they are not there. But in terms of doing search, native, display, and outdoor and other type of media, they are good. So Was that the answer that you wanted?
Yeah,
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 good.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. And
Yeah.
well, I have another question, and well, this came up right now, and well, Microsoft is in a lot of big companies because of their market power in terms of the computer, the system. So companies are locked, not locked, but uh, not because they are locked, because they choose to use
Mm,
Microsoft solutions
mm.
within their companies and etc. And so people spend a lot of time using Microsoft solutions. Does that make any type of, of change, or does that affect in any way because of these types of vertical that can maybe perform better within Microsoft? You worked at Microsoft before, so
Mm.
do you have any type of study or understanding in terms of this? Or this is it just came up to my mind, so just asking.
I mean, I would say yes and no, because I mean, it doesn't affect the advertising solution itself when it comes to platforms, etc. But we do serve ads in Microsoft 365, the free version of it. We do serve it in Outlook, for example. But when it comes to the paid professional side, we don't serve any ads. However, Microsoft data is Microsoft data. So at some point it's used across the products, and even if you can't use that specific data are being segmented into the in-market audiences. So if you are using different softwares, or if you are looking for to buy a software or similar, this can be found in the in-market audiences, I would say. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, at the end of the day, at least the learning part using that
Mm.
data, it can be used, right? Yes. So that was it for now.
Thank you. Thanks for
We
your
we
question.
have we have some questions here from Mihaela,
Yeah.
and I'll place them on the screen. I'll put them on the screen so you can have a look.
Mm?
All right. So, what types of products or services are most effective to advertise through Microsoft Search Ads? Do you find that specific industries or businesses tend to see better results?
Mm, type of product or services. Yeah, I think I answered that question actually with
Yeah.
insurance, e-commerce, gambling.
Mhm.
And I mean, it varies from market to market. If there is a specific market that Michaela would be interested in, let's say, I don't know, Germany, then I can easily get a report saying, okay, these are the top segments within Germany, for example.
Mhm. And the other question is, how do the audience demographics and behaviors differ between Microsoft and Google for the B2B segment?
Good question. The demographics, I mean, it depends on, yeah, sorry to say, but it depends. Because it depends depending on if they in the country they are in, or in the region, for example. But if I look at the MENA region, approximately 70% are under the age of 45, for example. And we see that males tend to dominate on Microsoft advertising in this region, but that is totally different from Sweden and Germany and US, for example. So it really varies from market to market, and how it differs from Google in the B2B segments. I mean, due to the fact that we know that a lot of corporate users are using PCs, we know that we are dominating on the corporate side, at least. So the user of corporate people are higher, I would say, on Microsoft advertising. But if you look at the volume will still going to be bigger on Google because Google have a bigger volume. But if we would say uh, on average user volume, I would say that Microsoft is dominating in the B2B segment.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting. I think the question I'm not sure if it's a question, but it's more like to pick your brain on the power of LinkedIn. And I'm not sure, have you ever done thought leadership ads for your clients and some strategies like that? No. No, I'm curious because I think it can be
I
how
did
I
on
see
Twitter
advertising.
actually.
Yeah, I think it's something maybe you should actually uh, look at as well, and get this small videos, um, just to educate the market, because I think sometimes people, they have the wrong expectation when it comes to ads, especially on the B2B side and lead generation. That's my opinion here. Like,
Mm,
I see ads, for example, if I'm writing on LinkedIn, right? So I write some stuff on LinkedIn, and then eventually you start seeing what's your voice and what resonates with your audience. And so
mm,
once you understand who's your audience in your ecosystem, that's how I would go about ads.
mm.
I would then use that to amplify my voice and become visible
Yeah.
with certain specific, certain demographics, let's put it this way. And eventually that could help me uh, generate leads, but I would try to have
Yeah, I know
frequency.
where you're
You know?
getting. That's actually on
Yeah.
our agenda to do this type
Hmm.
of I would say kind of a lead magnet to
Hmm.
produce content to generate
Hmm.
leads to be more curious. They become more curious. Use
Yeah,
cliffhangers
exactly.
to capture them into to the next, etc. Yeah, so that is actually on our agenda. After this, we are going to record a couple of videos as well.
Nice.
So
Mhm.
yeah, it's on the go-to plan.
No, yeah, 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 but I'm also asking from your client's perspective, even the agencies, which is, I think it's the knowledge you have is so valuable because there's so much content just in terms of education, and I think you gave us a masterclass here. There's so many angles, right? Oh, there's Snapchat,
Mm,
there's LinkedIn, there's this, there's that, and I think we don't know about it. We don't know about Google, but
yeah,
it's at least it's more like familiar, right? Everybody has seen a Google Ads, right? When it
yeah.
comes to Bing, we're maybe a bit more reluctant, and that's interesting. I think it's a massive opportunity there. Mikaela, is there anything I
Mm.
didn't ask you that we should cover today? Um,
I think we covered most of it, to be honest. I think we did.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect.
I mean, if anyone is curious to know more and learn more about Microsoft advertising, I'm happy to jump on a call, and if I can share any valuable market insights or whatever, I'm happy to share that too or get it for you. So I mean, just ask me and I will give it to you.
Perfect. Very nice. Well, for the Evolve Commerce Club members, well, I mean, of course we want to support you, and we will connect you with who's not a member, but who's a member. You have direct access to Mikaela. Mikaela, this has
Mhm.
been great. I think we can schedule like a masterclass where you could come with some slides. You probably have that, and then we could deliver that at some point.
Yep.
About the ecosystem. I think it would be amazing, like to have some data, some tactics as well, if you like to do that at
Yeah.
some point.
Yeah.
Right.
Would be
So this was
great.
awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
If
Thank you.
anyone outside of this community would like to find you, what's the best way?
Add me on LinkedIn. I always answer on LinkedIn, either on ISM or my own LinkedIn. And then,
Very good.
I mean, send me an email at Mikaela with a K at ismagency.io.
We'll put it in the YouTube description. Perfect.
Perfect.
Thanks so much. This was
Thank you.
great.
Bye.
Bye.